Listening is a process which consists of 5 different elements: hearing, attending, understanding, responding, and remembering. Hearing is the first element. It's a physiological dimension of listening. It's influenced by background noises, um, especially at the same frequency as the message that the listener is trying to hear, and continuous exposure to loud noises. Hearing was the physiological barrier, and attending is the psychological barrier of listening. It's a process of filtering out some messages and focusing on others. Basically, we can't pay attention to every single sound that we hear, so we use this process to filter out information. Our needs, wants, desires, and interests determine what information is actually attended to. It's beneficial to the listener as well as the message sender. Studies indicate that speakers' long-term recall of information is actually enhanced when the message is being conveyed to an attentive listener. Next is understanding. This occurs when we actually make sense of the message being conveyed. We can hear and even attend to a message without understanding it all or misunderstanding it. Responding to a message consists of giving observable feedback to the speaker. In addition to being verbal with responses, for example, asking questions, it can be nonverbal. For example, things like maintaining eye contact or positioning your body towards the person who's talking to you. All of this shows that communication is transactional in nature. This means it is an active process where both the message sender and receiver participate to achieve successful communication. To demonstrate this, we have a video.
What I want to know is, do you have any concerns about any illnesses?
No.
No? Okay. Any concerns? What can you tell me about any problems that your parents or your grandparents had in terms of their health?
I don't know how my father's mother died because she died when my father was 7 years old, and he's
Okay.
87 now. So same thing with my mom's father because he died when my mom was 6 months old. So we don't know. But my mom's mom, she died. She had a stroke when she was 55.
Okay.
My grandfather, my dad's father died when he was almost 100. So
People live a long time in your
Yes.
family. Are your parents both living?
Yeah,
They are. And what are their ages?
my father is 87. My mother is 77.
And do they have any health problems that you're aware of now?
My mother has a thyroid problem.
Okay.
She has a thyroid for about 30 years. I can't remember how long ago she was diagnosed with thyroid problem.
Okay.
The final element of listening is remembering. Remembering is the ability to recall information. According to our textbook, studies show that people remember only 50% of what they hear immediately after hearing it. Within 8 hours, the 50% becomes a 35%, and after 2 months, the average recall is only about 25% of the original message. Effective listening may not be an easy task and can be a target area for improvement. By identifying causes of ineffective listening, misunderstandings during conversations can be avoided. There are different types of ineffective listening, such as pseudo-listening, stage hogging, selective listening, insulated listening, defensive listening, ambushing, and insensitive listening. We will further explore these different aspects. A pseudo-listener is a listener who appears to be attentive by nodding and smiling at correct times, but is someone who's not actually paying attention. As you may have already assumed, in stage hogging, the listener always shifts the topic of conversation to themselves. They do not listen to the speaker, but always try to find ways in which that they can talk about themselves. In selective listening, the listeners only comment on specific parts of the conversation that interest them. This is unfavorable in personal situations as the listener may fail to comprehend what the speaker is saying. Insulated listeners are the exact opposite of selective listeners. They merely avoid topics that are unfavorable to them and simply smile and nod, or fail to acknowledge it completely. Defensive listeners are the type of listeners that take certain comments as personal attacks. For example, in a healthcare setting, if a physician questions a patient about lifestyle habits, they might interpret it as unnecessary snooping. This type of listener listens very carefully in order to gain information that they can use to attack the individual speaking. For example, a defense lawyer
does this type of listening. Insensitive listeners disregard the speaker's body language and hidden message that they are trying to direct, and they take what the speaker says at face value only.